Well, it certainly was a day of extreme heat, lots of 100-degree plus highs. Even at the beaches, temperatures probably got close to 100 degrees before even any remote kind of sea breeze. You probably had to be standing right in the water to cool off. We have a very hot day tomorrow, but it won't be as hot as today. But you might not notice the difference too much. And there's a break coming with maybe some showers and thunderstorms and perhaps a little bit of severe weather in the mix. So we get that all underway tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast if you shop on Amazon. Use our referral link that's pinned to the top of the chat board, and it's also on the descriptor to this podcast. Just search and shop for your stuff, and Amazon will throw us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you one penny out of your own pocket. It's an easy way to support the podcast, and it keeps the live stream commercial free, except for what I'm doing right now. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the descriptor to this podcast, which you'll find underneath the title. Use the coupon code SUMMER2025, and if you do, you will get.
You'll get 10% off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's 5 words. Just wait for your cue and go for it. Anyway, brutal today in a lot of spots. I think what really surprised me to some extent was places like West Hampton Beach Airport, Zabriskie Airport, which is not that far inland. And that's a place that in the wintertime, when it radiates, it can go to 20 below. I got to 100 today. Shirley, and the station for Shirley is like right near the coast. And that place, they got to 100. MacArthur got to 100. Islip MacArthur Airport. And 103 was the highest number that I saw, and that was in Newark.
I believe it hit 102 in Poughkeepsie, and Rich Rodmansky on the chat board pointing out that at West Hampton Beach, if you were where the beautiful people live in the summer, 100.4 degrees. So you're right, Joe. It really didn't seem to matter whether you were at the shore or inland. Everybody pretty much saw temperatures close to 100 degrees or higher today. And you're right. Tomorrow, by the normal standards, tomorrow we would be advertising it as a brutally hot day, but instead, tomorrow will be not quite so hot. I went for a high in the lower Hudson Valley of 90 to 98, and it looks like we're going to see a noticeable drop of the temperature for Thursday and especially Friday. The best day of the week, I think, in terms of comfort and overall conditions, will be Friday. Now, Friday, I think we'll probably still see more clouds and sunshine, but we're also going to see temperatures only in the lower 70s in the lower Hudson Valley, with winds from the east-northeast, a cool flow of air coming in, and also a dry day. We will probably be looking at the potential for shower and storm activity late tomorrow and tomorrow night, and again into the day on Thursday, and then we'll dry out for a day on Friday with lower humidity. And then guess what? A warm front moves through to our north during Saturday and places us right back, not in an exceedingly hot weather pattern, but an increasingly warm to hot weather regime with higher levels of humidity from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and maybe even next Tuesday as well.
98 was the high in New York City Central Park, so they did not get to 100 there. They did get to 100 at LaGuardia, but New York City Central Park, 98. Now, downtown Manhattan, apparently there's some kind of weather station there on the pavement, 109, which is really out of whack. And then there's 105 here at Ozone Park. I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. But Kennedy got to 102. A station that's down along the coast in Brooklyn got to 102. And a lot of hundreds again along the South Shore and the North Shore of Long Island. Kings Park, 104, which is a little higher than most. And North Merrick, I have 104 here. Farmingdale Republic Airport 100, Islip. Um, well, there's one station here that got to 101, and MacArthur Airport itself at 100, and Shirley Airport 100, Zabriskie Airport, West Hampton Beach was 100. See what go out further to the east. 98 in Montauk today. 98. And the North Fork also, temperatures up in the middle 90s. In New Jersey, we got 102. I'm sorry, 103 for Newark. So that's really the hot spot of all the official reporting stations. But you see a lot of hundreds there in North Jersey. I'm going to widen this map out just a little bit. And in the Hudson Valley, who's that got the 100? That was Poughkeepsie, 100. Hartford at Brainerd, 100. 104 at Danielson. A little out of whack with everything else. But around Boston, 102 at Logan. Talk about no sea breeze. I mean, the water off the coast here is cold. The fact that they didn't get a sea breeze is remarkable, really. Gloucester, 102. Let's see if I can find Worcester. Where are you? Fitchburg got 100. Where's Worcester? Worcester, no, that's Westboro, got to 100. Worcester Regional Airport got to 95. Springfield, Chicopee Falls, and Westfield Barnes Municipal Airport outside of Springfield, both getting to 100 degrees. And our friends down in Pennsylvania, seeing upper 90s to around 100. Philadelphia got to 100. Brandywine Regional Airport got to 100. Trenton got to 99 on the Jersey side. Now that Vineland, Joe, some people, I mean, do they light a match under the thermometer because they want to be the top number on the map? 114. No, that did not
No,
occur.
no, I don't think
However,
so.
Atlantic City International Airport, 102. In Maryland, Baltimore, 98. Washington, 98. So the hottest temperatures were actually across New Jersey, Long Island, the lower Hudson Valley, and also up into southeastern New England. Albany was trying to get to 100, which they haven't done since 1953. Okay.
Wow.
And they didn't make it. So New York City hasn't seen 100 since 2012 based at Central Park. There was one stat I do want to share to put this apocalypse in a little bit of perspective. So just give me a moment. I'm bringing us up full screen. I saved. This is from. Just give me a moment. I got to pull up the screenshot so I can read it. So this is from Chris Martz, who's I think is a meteorologist and into climate. And thank you for this information, Chris Martz. So it basically puts the heat wave in perspective. Now this was yesterday, Joe. In 1988, on June 23rd, 1988, 61% of the U.S. mainland was above 90. And a staggering 10.8% of the U.S. was over 100. Okay. Now, compare that to today. Only 45% of the continental U.S. Topped 90 degrees. I'm sorry, that yesterday, only 45% topped 90 degrees, and only 0.3% topped 100. And by the way, it should be noted that while all this is going on, it's been really cold in the West. I saw some record lows this morning were set in parts of Nevada, among other places. So it kind of makes sense if you're going to have extreme heat in the Northeast, or in the eastern part of the United States. If with the ridge, you're going to have a deep trough in the West, and that's exactly what we have.
That temperature that you mentioned for Central Park of 98. Now, I don't know why, but on the Upton, New York website, they are saying that their high at Central Park today was 99.
Okay, so they must have got to
I,
99 in between hours.
it's possible, except that the 99 was noted like early today, like before noontime, and I don't understand how they could possibly say that. But But, and Frank R says, I don't know, but Lee Goldberg confirmed the 99 as well. Regardless, it was a hot day, a sweltering day, and as I said, tomorrow ain't going to be no shirker either, with the temperatures throughout the area mostly again in the 90s. Maybe only, he says, only in the lower and middle 90s compared to the near triple digit temperatures most areas saw today.
Yeah, and there was also, again, without the sea breeze at play. I mean, you would think that even at the cusp, probably. I didn't look at the current temperatures, but probably around 5 or 6 o'clock, the sea breeze may have come in and cooled things down a bit right along the immediate coast. We do have another day of extreme heat tomorrow from Maine to North Carolina, also in the Appalachians, the Central Appalachians, and in parts of northern Indiana and southern Michigan and northwest Ohio. Heat advisories go all the way south down through Georgia, except for me. I'm kind of in this one spot. I wasn't paying attention. It's 83 now, and I've got a thunderstorm just to my northeast that I'm watching very carefully. I think I got to 90 today. Let me check my Tempest by Weatherflow weather station, and I will tell you for sure. It says 93.7 was my high today, after a
Well,
low of,
that's 3 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. The low was 64.2. So at least the nights here do cool off, which is, I've always said that's an advantage. Yeah, yesterday the low was 61.7 and my high was 90.3. And now, as I told us that we're down to 83. Flash flood watch is up for Southwest Texas or West Texas, westernmost Texas, and much of the state of New Mexico. Again, tropical moisture coming up from the Pacific. We have a small severe thunderstorm watch that's up in northeastern Colorado. Otherwise, the rest of the country is pretty quiet. And when we look at what's going on with lightning strikes on the satellite loop, there's nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing locally in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. However, there are some lightning strikes going on in northern New York and northern Vermont and New Hampshire. Also, in and around the lower Great Lakes, there's a little band of scattered thunderstorms there. Along the Gulf Coast, and as I said, there's some storms in western North Carolina that just to my north, I could almost touch them, but not quite yet to my house. And then you see the Pacific moisture that's streaming northward through Mexico, up through New Mexico, and then coming over the top of the ridge, going up through the northern plains. Now, this frontal boundary is not all that particularly strong, but it is going to settle overhead, and it may take 2 days for it to get through completely. So,
No map. No map.
oh,
Did you hear that from the executive producer?
yes, I did. She's a little late in letting me know. There you go. Sorry about that, folks. Um, what's streaming across the Great Lakes and in northern New York and coming up out of New Mexico, that's a frontal boundary that is going to be shifting southward. But it's going to take a bit for it to get through because it's still going to be hanging around on Thursday. Although it's going to line up to our south.
So you're right. Tomorrow, much of the day tomorrow here in the tri state area should be dry. If we get any thunderstorm or convection, it will probably come at or after sundown tomorrow night. And then, as the actual front passes to our south and we go into that cooler onshore easterly flow, we may see some light rain actually for after midnight tomorrow night and into a good part of Thursday, intermittent light rain. And then, as the front continues to ever so slowly drop to our south, we get into a little patch of drier air, which will set the stage for slightly less humid weather, a dry day overall for the most part on Friday, although we'll probably see more clouds and sun. But temperatures by Friday could be as much as 25 degrees cooler than what we experienced in many areas today. So if you're looking for a break, there is a break coming. It's not coming at a rapid speed, and we still have to go through one more oppressively hot and humid day tomorrow. But by tomorrow night, as that front comes in and moves through slowly but surely, we should get into a more comfortable air mass for Thursday and especially so into Friday.
Got a couple of small flash flood warnings up in southwestern North Carolina. Again, that's what is just to my north. I really kind of want the rain to get down here so I don't have to go out and water the yard again. Otherwise, in the Northeast, there's a fairly well-defined cluster of storms in northeastern New York and northern Vermont, and even a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. There's one near Portland, Maine, with a storm going through there. Scattered storms around the Great Lakes. Again, you look down along the Gulf Coast, we're seeing a peppering of showers and storms and a few severe thunderstorm warnings in southwest Louisiana and southeast Texas. Then we go into New Mexico, where we've got that stream of downpours and some thunderstorms, and numerous flash flood warnings are up there in that state. I'm not sure. Is that I-25? But it might be. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot going on there, pretty much right in the middle part of the state of New Mexico. And then we move up into Colorado where we have a severe thunderstorm watch. And you see there's a little bow there of thunderstorms in northeastern Colorado. Also, some cutting across Kansas on a diagonal and into southwest Iowa. A few showers in parts of Wyoming and in Montana, and also into northwest Washington. Now, the Storm Prediction Center. Yay! The site works again. Slight risk from Colorado to Wyoming, slight risk in northeastern New York and Vermont, marginal risk eastern Tennessee, southwest Virginia, western North Carolina, just barely to my north, and that's for tonight. Tomorrow, marginal risk into southern New England, the lower and middle Hudson Valley, and maybe even the upper Hudson Valley. Long Island, New York City, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, west to Ohio, crossing through the upper Mississippi Valley and into the northern plains. A slight risk is being forecast for much of North Carolina, all of South Carolina, just about all of Georgia, and the southeastern half of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. The only place where we've got tornado risk, though, is in northern Iowa and southern Minnesota tomorrow, which is at about 2%. There is a 10% hail a wind risk of potential for winds in excess of 55 miles an hour, and there's a 5% chance of hail, also a 5% chance in that area in the western plains. Day 3, which takes us to Thursday into Friday, marginal risk, southernmost Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, all the way down to Florida, west to Alabama, also from Kansas northeastward to Wisconsin and Michigan, and then an area up in north central and northeastern Montana. There's nothing being indicated in the long range. As far as rain is concerned, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in general. However, from Nebraska to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and across southeastern Canada, you've got a large area of 1.5 inches plus, and some areas of 3 to 4 inches in Wisconsin and in Iowa. Also along the Gulf Coast on the Florida Panhandle, where we have an area of several inches of rain there, and another couple of inches possible in New Mexico with that Pacific moisture moving northward. Not much going on in the Pacific Northwest. So the ridge, Joe, is going to break down, but it doesn't go away completely. So it breaks down enough to end the extreme heat. We're going to cool off, especially on Friday. I agree with you. But it's not one of these situations where you're getting a nice deep trough and cold front to just sweep it all out of here and bring in a really nice dry air mass into the east.
I'm a little bit amused by the posts that I've been seeing for the last 5 minutes on the chat board by Tobes. I think that's how you pronounce it, Tobes Naguana Jagu, who has been outpacing even the Old Farmer's Almanac. You know, the Old Farmer's Almanac will come out with their winter predictions late in August. Here it is now late in June, 2 full months before the Old Farmer's Almanac. And here Tobes has been proclaiming that starting this winter, especially in the northeastern United States of America and continuing through the winters of 2027 through 2028 across the United States, it will be brutally cold. And he's also saying, Joe, that this upcoming winter season, we will be looking at quite a bit of snow. He says, I'm afraid that this winter is going to rival, now this is quite a statement, rival the winters of the late 1970s and 1993-94 across the United States of America. So I don't know how he does his long range projections, and he certainly is sticking his head way out on the chopping block to make such a projection as that. But, well, we'll see.
Well, you know
I know
what?
you've got, I know you have.
Snow lovers here are just basically now saying from your lips to God's ears. You know, but we'll see. Hey, look, it's 5 out of the last 6 winters were below normal snowfall, and also last winter was cold. It was a colder than normal winter, just wasn't that much snow. All the snow was down here in the south. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I can tell you, long before that, we have to get through the 4th of July. And it does seem like the model continues to show the idea of troughing coming into the eastern part of the U.S. for the first days of July. And it would sort of imply that we could have a nice, delightful, you know, type air mass coming in for that particular holiday weekend. So we'll see how it plays. And then that troughing in the east kind of holds through the much of the long range period that takes us out to July 9th. Again, if that's right, this heat wave, we don't see another, there won't be another heat wave coming back anytime soon. And by the way, Joe, it's not inconceivable that we've seen the hottest temperatures of the whole summer this week.
Okay.
Right? I mean, how many times does it get over 100? I mean, you can make the argument that in years where it goes to 100, it tends to do it more than once. When I say more than once, I mean, setting up a pattern for a couple of days where you get temperatures that will go over 100 degrees. So it seems like you could make the case that, well, we just got this pattern here, so maybe it sets up again at some point during the summer in July, August, and into September. We got a long way to go. But we've had summers where we've had some very hot weather in June, and it turns out to be the hottest temperature of the whole summer season.
Well, I will say this. You mentioned the summer of 1988. I remember that as a hellish summer. We had lots and lots of heat and humidity all the way through into the middle part of August. And then the summer of 99, the month of July, I'm not really talking about June, I'm not even talking about August. The whole month of July, I think we had something like 20 out of 30 days,
Yeah, it was brutal
close to
that year.
record temperatures, and we had a couple of 100-degree days in that stretch.
Hmm.
Not at Central. I don't know if it, remember if it was at Central Park. It might have been, but I remember that too was an incredibly. You can base your heat, the hot summers on how long you can put up with the length or depth of the heat. Now the summer of '88, as I said, from June through July and on into mid-August, it was just almost continuous, hot, hazy, humid, oppressive weather. The month of the 1999, only really the month of July, the heat was more concentrated in that one month. I mean, before July, it was not overly hot. It wasn't overly hot after the end of July into August of '99, but that one month was incredible. Now we're off to a flying start with this heat in late June of this year. The question is, will it be like 1988? Will we carry over more extremes into July and into part of August? Or will, as you just said, will this be a case where we see only this, and then as we get into the rest of the summer, it may be warm to hot, but nothing to compare what we are going through right now. We'll see.
Yeah. Tomorrow, again, with this frontal boundary coming into this hot and more of an unstable air mass tomorrow. You see the European does gel up some thunderstorms in Pennsylvania and into western New Jersey, but it doesn't really go hog wild with it. Then as we move into Thursday, you got another little wave. Again, the frontal boundaries to the south. The wind is a bit more onshore, but still warm and unstable enough with some showers and storms. And they linger into Thursday night, and there's still few scattered around during the day on Friday. But you're right, Friday's going to be a fairly coolish day with an east wind. And then Friday night and Saturday, we'll probably get into some showers and storms maybe later in the day. Looks like some kind of weather front tries to push through. And then Sunday and Monday look okay. Yeah, well, then, something else maybe on Monday. This time of year, these systems are much more small scale-ish, and it's awfully hard from day to day to figure out what's going to happen. If you look at the European, they've got some kind of front on Tuesday, and actually rather busy with showers and thunderstorms from Maine all the way down to Georgia and Tennessee, with some strong cells embedded in there. At least that's what the European implies, and that would be July 1st. And then after that goes by, it looks like it'll be dry for the 3rd, dry for the 4th. Some storms in upstate New York, but they don't do much. And then some showers and storms for that weekend of the 5th and 6th. But that's a long ways away yet. We still got to get through the rest of this week. Meanwhile, out in the Atlantic, Joe, they made this tropical storm Andrea, and it's a smallish storm. You certainly does look like a tropical system, but it's again very small and heading toward the northeast. So they got their first name out of the way. If you
Andrea.
like, yeah, Andrea or Andrea. Um, it's at 37.9 north, 47.4 west. So it's really in the middle of nowhere. Not too far from the Azores, but it's forecast to weaken to a remnant low sometime overnight. So that's it as far as tropical storm Andrea is concerned, or if you like, Andrea. And on that note, I think we should
You
go
see, I
through it.
wonder, it's certainly on the satellite picture, it looks like a tropical cyclone. Um, but, for the time that it's going to be around, less than 24 hours, you got to wonder whether or not it really was worth tagging a name to this thing. But I guess,
Uh, gets
they have
gets
their criteria.
yeah, and, there are marine interests out there that are interested in these sorts of things. So it gets a name out of the way, and we this way now we can say yes, we did have a named storm during
The,
the
the,
month of
the,
June.
the tropical discussion says the deep convection associated with Andrea. This is the last discussion at 5 o'clock. Actually, it's 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, 5 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time. Well, actually, it's the same thing. Atlantic Standard and Eastern Daylight are the same. So five
Right.
o'clock this afternoon, and they said deep convection associated with Andrea collapsed, and it's not redeveloped. That one sentence tells you about just how much Andrea is going to last, which is probably why it doesn't last on the forecast much longer than, let's say, after midnight tonight. So, but it's there, first one of the season. But again, as they put out this statement, the clock is ticking on Andrea now with the loss of deep convection. This will be a short-lived tropical storm as environmental conditions will become increasingly hostile during the next 12 to 24 hours. So, hello, Andrea, and goodbye, Andrea.
Goodbye, Andrea. Okay, welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. It's a little late for me to say hello, and welcome to those of you lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. No schedule changes ahead. If there is one, we'll let you know. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button. All right, so let's do some Briller Jeopardy, and we're still on this high temperature in each state during the month of June. Okay.
All right.
Oh no, I'm sorry, wrong. the highest temperatures in each state, period. Oh,
Yes.
regardless of what month. I misread that. All right, so we're in the M's. We're still in the M's and about to go into the N's. So we will start with the great state of Montana. Montana, Joe, the highest temperature ever to be recorded in the state of Montana.
I would say Big Sky Country, the highest temperature they've ever seen out there, 116.
That is a very good guess. Very good guess. It's
It's not
very,
right, but it's a good
it's
guess.
a good guess. And Tyler Fienga and CWTR Shark also 118 is a very good guess. If we do the math, if it's not 118 and it's not 116, it is 117, Joe. 117.
Tyler Fenger got it with 117.
Yeah, but he took two guesses over there. Mike Waterhouse
Yeah,
Bonsai
you're not allowed to
117.
do that.
Yeah, I'd get on the first try. Okay, in Nebraska.
Nebraska, I
Nebraska.
will. Nebraska, I will go with 100 and 116.
And a good guess, but on the lowish side. Rich Rothmansky and Anthony and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai get that one. 118. 118.
Wow. And yeah, somebody made an allusion to Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson came from Norfolk, Nebraska. Not Norfolk, Virginia, but Norfolk, Nebraska. Just in case any of you were interested in a trivia question, there you go.
By the way, Bill Goodman, just reading off a Facebook, posted not too many minutes ago that this was the third hottest day on record at Islip Airport, and they actually got to 101. It was also the hottest June day on record at Newark, Kennedy, and LaGuardia, 103, 102, 101, respectively. So there you
Wow.
go. So the number of impressive records, are really an impressive day for this time of year. Okay.
And also at Westchester Airport, second consecutive record high temperature day today. Yesterday they had to go all the way back to 1882,
Right.
1888, I should say. This time around they didn't have to go quite so far back. Uh, Westchester Airport hit 97, and that broke the old record of 94 set at the airport on this date in 1975. By the way, I went on last night and said that the record at White Plains, I think, was 96. Actually, after the show, I checked. It was an update, 98. So yesterday at White Plains, the 98 they reported at the airport was tied with the hottest temperature ever recorded in the month of June at Westchester Airport. The other record high in June 1953 when they had 98 degrees. So this has been a couple of days of unusual weather for White Plains, actually at Westchester County Airport Harrison, which again sometimes gets a little sea breeze off of Long Island Sound and holds temperatures down a few degrees lower than other surrounding areas. And tomorrow, well, tomorrow we'll see if they can make it three record highs in a row. The record for tomorrow, in case you're wondering, is 92. That's a cheapie. 92
Oh
set
yeah,
in
that's
1966.
gone. That's
Yep.
gone. All right, the next city on the list is Nevada. Now, here's a state that's dealing with record cold today. Some places got down into the 20s. Nevada.
Nevada. Now we're talking for a record high temperature or
Correct.
all time high at Nevada, right?
Right.
I'm going to say 121.
You were right to go up, but you didn't go up enough. Alan Rupa and John Melander at 124. Lou Arizio gets it, Joe, 125. A buck
Wow.
and a quarter, 125.
Before we
Next.
continue, Cecilia Hernandez has never heard of Atlantic Standard Time. So what is Atlantic
Well, then
Standard
she's
Time?
never been to Bermuda then.
You've never been to Bermuda. They are on Atlantic Standard Time. Also, Atlantic Canada, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, and and Prince Edward Island. Those are places that are on Atlantic Standard Time. Actually, they're on Atlantic Daylight Time, believe it
Right.
or not. But Bermuda does not, I think, observe daylight time, so they're on Atlantic Standard Time, which is the same equivalent of Eastern Daylight Time. They are 4 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time.
Right. Okay, New Hampshire. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, I will say, what would I say for New Hampshire? Something crazy. I'll say, you would think that New Hampshire, being in New England, they probably would not get, overly high above 100. I'm going to say 100, 111. I'm going to give it the Ed Norton
Yeah,
seal of approval.
that's a little much. Uh
111.
yeah. Latex Dreams 107. Not a bad guess. Frank Scalera 104. Not a bad guess. But Tyler Finger gets it at 106. 106 for New Hampshire. And if we're going alphabetically, what comes after New Hampshire, Joe?
Um, New Mexico,
No.
New Guernsey.
New Guernsey, yes. The People's Republic of the State of New Jersey.
This will be
Oh,
interesting because it probably, I would assume that the record high might be new. Well, but we don't know because the chairman didn't, include the places where these records were set.
well, on this one he did.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Newark?
No.
No.
And we have a bunch of people that have already gotten it. Craig Carlberg, Howard A., Mrs. Hutch, 53, Maggie P., all getting it. I think I got everybody. And yes, that is everybody. 110, and it was in Runyon, the town of Runyon. Do you know where, and Lauritio just got it. Do you know where the town of Runyon is?
Um, I never heard of it. I know what a grunion is, but I never heard of a nunion.
No,
Unless it's an
Runyon with an R.
I
Runyon,
don't
New
know.
Jersey is in Middlesex County, Joe. In Middlesex County.
My assumption then is that it was a cooperative observer
And it was
observation.
north of Route 195
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
not too far from Route 78. So there you go. Okay.
Incidentally,
Still
before we close out tonight, because it's been obscured for the most part on the show, but I do want to show you the shirt that I wore today in honor of today. Are you ready for this?
yeah, I'm ready. What's today?
I wore this
Uh
shirt today.
'Tis the season to be freezing.
Yes.
You have quite the collection of t-shirts.
I figure I would wear this shirt and maybe and just maybe it might make it feel a little cooler. And maybe it did. My high temperature here in Putnam Valley yesterday was 100. Today I only got to 99, so I was a full degree cooler today as opposed to yesterday.
I'll see what happens if you go shirtless tomorrow. All right. All right, we'll call it a night, folks. I hope everybody had a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow night at the usual time, 7:35 p.m. Eastern. So stay cool and just be patient because tomorrow's going to be the last day of the big heat, and then we're going to cool down for the rest of the week.
Yes.
Not here where I am in the deep south, where we'll still be dealing with 90-degree weather until further notice. But as long as I get a peppering of thunderstorms along the way, I'll be a happy camper. So see you tomorrow, everybody. Nighty night.
Night, folks.